Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. Hope you survived the endless April Fool's videos where every other YouTuber deleted their channel and quit forever. By the way, Zach Dorr even got a job as a cashier after that, and Steak just decided to leave with the secret agent girl. Today I wanted to share some updates about episode 78, but the thing is, there's pretty much no news, except for that one scared dude, of course. Over the past 2.5 months, we've already gotten 1 billion spoilers, so it's not that surprising. But still, during this long wait, you kinda hope for something. And then it hit me. Back in the day, we used to have a segment where I'd predict what would happen in the next episode, not just based on spoilers, but also on my own interpretation of the story. But today, I decided to approach it from a different angle, and you'll see why in a bit. In Skibidi Toilet, Mr. Boom uses a ton of storytelling techniques. The obvious one is cliffhangers, where the story cuts off right at a tense moment, leaving us hanging. But digging deeper, I realized there are way more techniques in play than I first thought, like the fake death trope. In episode 65, it was pretty clear the Titans were supposed to die. They were basically done for. I even predicted in my breakdown that the scientist and his crew would teleport in and finish them off. In episode 66, Mr. Boom even showed a picture on a tablet of them being dead. But boom. In episode 67, the Titans came back out of nowhere. Another good example is Plunger. After his fight with the scientist, he collapsed, and most people thought he was done for. But in part 4 of episode 67, it became clear. Even though the glitch toilet vanished, Plunger himself was alive and well. And if we look ahead a little, I think it's safe to say they're gonna pull the same move with Titan Cameraman. No doubt in my mind he's coming back. So, as you've probably guessed, today we're diving into extrapolation. That's when you take what you already know from the past and try to predict what might happen in the future. And that's exactly what we're gonna do, based on all the clues I've picked up along the way. But before we jump in, make sure to like this video if you don't want to randomly wake up in a room with the secret agent. Okay, now that you've protected yourself with a like, let's get to the extrapolation. One of Mr. Boom's favorite tricks is the false climax. That's when it seems like everything is over. One side is clearly lost, there's no way out, and then suddenly, the story keeps going. Usually, that kind of move is used in movies or shows when they need to bridge one season to the next and justify sequels or new parts. But Skibidi Toilet doesn't really have seasons in a traditional way, so overusing that would just weaken the effect. That's why Mr. Boom uses it very sparingly, only when it really makes sense. A great example is episode 70. The arc where the Skibidi Toilets were the main villains seemed to wrap up completely. It felt like that was the end. But then Boom pulled a false climax and kicked off a brand new story arc, the Astro Toilets. Right now, it kind of feels like we're going through the same thing again, but in reverse. The whole plot is leading us toward a devastating defeat for the Alliance, and the infection of the Titan TV man, one of their strongest characters, feels like the peak of that downfall. And now, with the Speaker Army on the way, there's this temporary feeling that the Alliance is about to turn the tide. It's the same vibe we had between episodes 57 and 64 when it looked like things were under control. But then episode 65 hit and reminded us of the harsh reality. So yeah, I think Mr. Boom is about to give us that warm, nostalgic feeling of the good old episodes, just to crush it later even harder. And that new spoiler with the terrified Astro Toilet face, it might be hinting at that exact twist. With all that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if Titan Speaker, even after a few wins, ends up losing the war. And when that happens, the ones who'll come to his rescue are gonna be Titan Cameraman and G-Man. I really think this new duo is gonna be the final hope, the last chance to fix everything. Funny thing is, in episode 72, Titan Cameraman said for Plunger, and in 73 G-Toilet said for Scientist. Both of them were driven by the loss of a close friend. But now, considering the secret agent is working with G-Toilet, and according to early info, he's the one who saved Titan Cameraman in episode 74, things are shifting. And let's not forget, this is the same guy whose actions led to the death of the scientist and forced Plunger into the artificial world. So now, Titan Cameraman and G-Toilet don't really have a reason to blame each other anymore. Turns out their friends died not because of their direct conflict, but because of a third force influencing everything. But that brings up a new issue. Once Cameraman and Toilet find out the truth, that anger might get redirected, straight toward the secret agent. And that, my friends, is a whole different story for another day. One of Mr. Boom's strongest tricks is what I like to call sudden death, when a character, especially an important one, dies out of nowhere. This technique is used to destroy the illusion that main characters are safe and to keep the audience constantly on edge. A great example is the death of Dark Speakerman. Back in episode 67, when the team was sent to explore the lab, I honestly didn't think many of them would die. Sure, I expected a few background characters might not make it, but I definitely wasn't ready for what actually happened. And now, based on that experience, we can come to a pretty solid conclusion. In the next similar special mission, chances are a lot of the team won't survive either. And of course, the cherry on top, Mr. Boom is slowly adding more and more elements related to messing with perception. We're being shown scenes that seem like major events or revelations, only to find out later they were just simulations. Remember how we thought the twins died because of Michael Jackson? And then it turned out they were totally fine. They're just only visible to people who are allowed to see them. Or take the recent twist, the chair that suddenly turned out to be the secret agent woman. Same thing with Boom's artificial world, Computer Man, G-Man's hologram, and so on. But even that's not the end of it. We've now seen false memories, like the scene with Detective Cameraman, where they watched footage from Red Cameraman's head. In the video, the events were totally different from what really happened. In reality, the secret agent just handed over a remote and said, "You know what to do." And honestly, this whole perception-bending theme might be the most important part of today's video, because I truly believe that messing with perception and subjective reality will become the main and most exciting storytelling tool in future seasons of Skibidi Toilet. So get ready for tons of distorted and unstable reality. But I didn't stop there. Completely by accident, while working on this part of the script, I came up with such a powerful theory and concept that I'm convinced you're gonna love it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. This is one of those rare times where I'm 90% sure I've nailed it. The last time I felt like this was when I predicted G-Man and Juggernaut would end up working together. And just a couple episodes later, we got a massive hint toward that in a bonus scene from season 25. See you next time.